Thank you, Venerable Chokyi. So how did this all begin? Venerable Chokyi and I met Venerable Yanki at the Tomsaling Monastery in Dharamsala earlier this year on our recent pilgrimage. And that's when we first heard about the film, the pilgrimage and the discussions and the problems for the non-Himalayan nuns. Venerable Yanki, thank you for making the documentary and for making it so freely available on YouTube. Would you like to tell us about the documentary, why you decided to make it and what you were hoping to achieve? Venerable Yanki.
Hello to everyone.
Hello. And thanks for joining us. You're a long way away in Russia, so thank you.
Hopefully I'm here with you.
Yes, you are.
And how it started. So our non-Himalayan nuns meeting last year gave me this opportunity to talk about the Western nuns. But when it started, I didn't have I didn't think about telling about their problems. I just wanted to show their beautiful presence to our festival, Buddhist festival on Urals, which we was preparing that time. And I was thinking how it will be nice to show these beautiful nuns and these places of pilgrimage which we were taking. Yes. And I asked during the preparation, we were preparing to go to the pilgrimage next day, and I came to the audience and I asked the beautiful Tsunmas, are they willing to be filmed in this movie? And they all agreed, of course. So, and this gave me opportunity to make this documentary. So I filmed everything, and when I came back to Russia, my friend agreed to help me to, to make the movie from these videos I made. And it happened. And it happened very well, I think.
Yes, it did.
Yeah.
So now thank you.
I think more than 20,000, how you call it? When people watch the movie?
Views.
Yeah, 20,000 views in Russia. And now it's more than 1,600 views around the world, English version.
Well done. Thank you. And we met you in Dharamsala, in Tomsaling. Tell us a bit about Tomsaling and why it's important to you and why you go there.
Yeah, Tomsaling is a nunnery for the Western nuns. The only existing nunnery for Western nuns in India. Nowadays, there are many monasteries around the world, but some time ago, it was only one monastery, I think, for the Western nuns, nunnery. And I came there first when I decided to become a nun. So that's why this place is important to me, because I received my first vows from the Geshe, from the Tomsaling nunnery. I received my Rabjungma vows. And after 1 year, I received my Jetsunma vows from His Holiness the Dalai Lama. And then the Tomsaling, they provided the place to stay for me. So first 2 years after ordination, I was staying in Tomsaling. And after that, I'm trying to come every year to stay for some time.
And in Russia? In Russia, you have a center there where you
Yes,
stay?
yes. I have a beautiful opportunity, beautiful support from Buddhist center in Russia. It's a very small center, but it's enough. I mean, for me, I have enough support there. I have a place to stay, and I have Buddhist people around. So it's good.
Wonderful. Thank you. And thank you again for making it. Venerable Chokyi, what was your memory of that day and our visit to Tom Saling?
Actually, Venerable Yanki, I wanted to go back to when I was talking with you in Kopan Monastery. Sorry, it was in the monastery in April, and you were just setting up the association there in Russia for Buddhist nuns. And how's that going? And what is that come out of the meeting of the alliance or separately? Just what do you hope to achieve by having that association there in Russia?
Yes, it started after our Non-Himalayan nuns meeting. And I started to think about how I can help Russian nuns, because they're also struggling sometimes. And when I came back to Russia, and when we made this movie, Golden Flowers of Dharma, one Russian lady contacted me, and she said, "I want to help nuns. How I can help nuns?" So we start to discuss what we can do, and then this idea to create the association appear. So when we start slowly to develop it. So now, what we have done till now, we started to help a little bit to the nuns. We started to reach out for the nuns. And we found the support from the Tibetan medical doctor who give free, medicine to the nuns. We organized a couple of teachings for the nuns. One was from the Sirkong Rinpoche. This was the biggest one. It was online teachings. And we start to talk about nuns to the wider society. So people start to hear about the nuns. It's also, I think this is the first what we need to do. We need to reach out to the nuns and to the wider society to talk about we exist actually. Because sometimes when I traveled around the Buddhist regions of Russia, and people were seeing me wearing the robes, they were saying, "Oh, you wearing lama's clothes." So you a lama? And I said, no, I'm not a lama, I'm a Buddhist nun. And they were like, Buddhist nun exist? We didn't know. So we need to talk about that we are here, we exist.
I think that's something very important that resonates with us here. It's a conversation we're having all the time, and we all get approached like that. "Oh, are you a monk?" And I go, "No, I'm a nun." "Oh, I didn't know they were nuns." So this is something, and I think if I'm not wrong, this also, the association you've set up is across all traditions? Is all traditions?
Of course.
Yes.
we are not so many nuns here, so
yeah, exactly. Exactly.
We need to support each other.
Yes, absolutely.
And now in our association, most of the nuns, they are from Tibetan tradition. And we have one bhikshuni from Korean tradition. She's the only bhikshuni in our organization, and I think only bhikshuni in Russia.
So far.
Yeah.
So
she is now building the nunnery in Buryatia. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
So thank you, Venerable Chokyi and Venerable Yanki. What we thought we'd do now is play a little bit of the documentary, and we plan to play the bit with Tenzin Palmo speaking to the nuns. So Tenzin Palmo, I hope you don't mind. We'll play 5 minutes or so, and then open it up to discussion on some of the points you raise. And you very kindly agreed to answer questions. So So Meg, fire away.
I will. Thanks, Helen. Helen, if you can just keep an eye on the waiting room, because I won't see it once I've shared screen and I'm full screen. So just give me a moment. And if there's any issues with the sound, if someone can yell at me, because I won't see the chat. Nicely yell at me, but yell at me. All right, won't be a sec.
We are all very delighted to have each one of you here with us. Perhaps I should say a few words about the Alliance for Non-Himalayan Nuns. This was set up a few years ago with Sunma Sangmo here and Geshima Kesangmongmo, who I think most of you know, is a German nun and was the first actual Geshe, Geshe-ma in Tibetan history. And so we decided that while nowadays, especially, Himalayan nuns are coming up like anything, they are living in beautifully well-organized nunneries, they are supported, respected, trained and taught, and they have themselves jumped forward, leapt forward more for the challenge. And as we know now, there are many Geshe-ma, there are Kenmos, and they are teachers and exemplary Dharma practitioners, and we rejoice in that. But what got left behind are all those wonderful women not part of the Himalayan diaspora. You. And so what happened, I sometimes say it's like the Himalayan nuns, because they come so young and so open still. They're like soft clay, which can be molded into any shape you want it to be. Whereas most of the non-Himalayan nuns are already set clay. You know, they're already teapots or vases or cups. Very difficult to remold into a different shape. And so it's a very different challenge which you are facing. But meantime, you get ordination. Lama says, oh, wonderful, fantastic, great karma. Obviously, you must have been a monastic in your past life, and that's really wonderful. Well done. Here's your Dharma name. Bye-bye. That's it. If you're a Himalayan nun, they will say, okay, look, there's my nunnery down the road. You go to there. I'll give you a note. But for non-Himalayan nuns, what you going to do? There's nowhere for us to go to. So then you get, there you are, you're ordained. Maybe if you're lucky, you know how to wear your robes. Maybe you don't, because everybody wears robes differently. Which pattern do I follow? And then what? In the monasteries or nunneries especially, sometimes you have to pay to stay there. Can you imagine being in a nunnery where you have to pay as a nun to stay in that nunnery? And you don't talk about it. Because if you talk about it, it's like you're criticizing your Lama, who after all set this up. So everybody keeps quiet. The lay people don't know. Lay people are collecting money to send to India, to the monasteries in India. The irony of it, their own people, they don't support. They support people 1,000 miles away. So we thought, we have to bring attention to this. We have to really try to think of, you know, all the people, hundreds of people who have been ordained with no advantage at all from their point of view. have given up often very pleasant lives in order to follow the Dharma and have more time for practicing Dharma. But they don't know. Nobody's supporting them. There's not only not financial support, there's not psychological support. Nobody knows who you are, what you're doing. You don't belong in the Tibetan situation, but you don't belong in the West either, because Western Buddhism is not monastic. And so we started the alliance, and we tried to raise some money for people, trying to get people to be more conscious of the problem and how little support, financial or psychological, these nuns received. But then, apart from that, we thought, really, what these women need is to get to recognize they're not alone. And so we decided that it would be a very good idea to bring many non-Himalayan nuns here to discuss the problem. Meet each other, talk about your life, what you've achieved, the difficulties, and the good things, you know, and how we have, despite the obstacles, you stuck it out and you're trying to go ahead and really become genuine exemplars of the monastic life in the face of very little encouragement. And the Buddha, as you will know, the first thing after his enlightenment was to form a Sangha. Because it's a lonely path if you're all by yourself. And if you have Dharma brothers and sisters around, then it makes life much easier. You can share, and you have someone to talk to who understands what you're saying. So we thought, well, let's bring some non-Himalayan nuns all together, and they can talk to each other, they can meet each other as a recognizable Sangha. It doesn't matter where you come from, you're a Sangha, and you all share the same precepts and the same Dharma. And you can encourage each other. So that's why you're here. You're our guinea pigs. And we want everybody to really gain something from this meeting. So we are very grateful that we have this beautiful environment in which we can meet and in which we can discuss things and practice together and function as a nunnery. And it's empowering to be with our Dharma sisters, all of us practicing and chanting and studying and talking together. A monastic community is very powerful, and it's why the Buddha specifically emphasized the importance of the Fourfold Sangha. He really felt the importance of community, of coming together with a common aim. It's beautiful to see you all, like beautiful flowers, golden flowers. So I really, again, welcome you all, and we hope that we'll all mutually help each other and benefit from our association with each other and take that back with us to wherever we normally abide. So thank you very much and welcome again. Thank you.
Okay.
Helen, you're just on mute.
Sorry. Jetsunma, we have you with us. Is there anything you'd like to add from what you said on the day and has been recorded, which was beautiful? Thank you.
Well, basically, the results of that have been that groups of nuns who were participating in the gathering have come together and really are working on creating communities in various countries. Small, not, We don't need to start too ambitious, but a few people who come together and really like each other. I think this is very important in a community, that it should be in harmony. And so they are now working together to try to set up something viable in the West. But I think that Aileen should talk about this more, because she's been part of that. Aileen,
we'd love to hear from you, Aileen. You're on mute. Yeah.
I hope you can hear me. I've got airplanes coming in behind me.
Yes, we can hear you.
Let this one pass over.
Now you're muted.
You're muted again.
Yeah, I was just muting. The plane was literally flying over. Yeah, as Jetsunma has said, we're discussing the reality that for many of us, and it struck me as Jetsunma finished, her address there, when Jetsunma said, "Take this back to where you usually reside," or words to that effect, and they're the trigger words actually, because for lots of us we're like, well, where's my place? Where's my foundation, my base? For many of us, that doesn't exist, and so it's a crucial necessity, especially as we're getting older. So we have been talking about coming together, as Jetsunma said, finding people that work well together, but also recognizing that, and I've said this, we're not talking about taking refuge in each other's personalities, because that's a little bit up and down as well. So the communities would need to have basic sets of rules in place. We're not talking about nunneries per se, but more about I guess like an independent living model, where they're finding some hybrid between well, first of all, recognizing, as Jetsunma says, that we're already formed, we're already clay pots, but that with that too, there's a wealth of experience and training and practice, and so it would be lovely to have these sort of independently living, but also having some community aspects as well. Trying to find the middle way between both, I think, so that there's enough flexibility for us to have our own space, to do our own practice, but also, really honoring the power of being together as a group as well. So we're talking about this. We're looking at, I'm constantly looking at properties. There isn't the money in the bank for this, but I am looking at properties. I've also been talking to some nuns in America about the same thing. So we've been looking in Ireland. It wasn't, it didn't have to be Ireland. It just happened. A couple of nuns had come to visit me when I was there, and I think honestly, what we're talking about needs to be replicated across the world, in small groups coming together. And so, as I say, I've also talked to some nuns in America who, some of them now have money that they've inherited from family, and they're looking at, originally they had a much bigger plan of creating a nunnery and so on. And interestingly, and I think this is kind of maybe the karma of the Western nuns, they did have an organization that was supporting the idea. And then as it sort of became closer to realization, the organization said, actually, no, this is something you can do by yourselves. And this is the reality. I think that we, rather than complain about it, just really say, okay, so how do we do this? How do we create these places? So I think maybe this is one of the ways to do it, is to come together, small groups that can share a vision of something that will take care of our basic needs, the food, clothing, shelter, medicine, of the 4 requisites. But also from that, very, very importantly, I think everybody's nervous system might calm down a little bit as well with that, and an ability to go deeper into our practice and to then be able to serve the local communities and the wider communities given online accessibility. So I think it's win-win if we can get these happening, that they really become helping the Dharma to deepen and to spread, and reflecting very much the fourfold Sangha as well. I think this is another very important part of it, that just in the conversations we've been having so far, definitely the core of nuns being together, but not nuns in isolation per se. Maybe having spaces also for other lay practitioners to come to do retreats, to receive teachings, maybe also to live again with that sort of independent living model. So
yeah.
Thank
you, Eileen, and lovely to hear from you. I'm really going to hand it over to Venerable Chokyi now, because this is more your area of expertise. But we're open for questions. We're very lucky to have Jetsunma Tenzin Palmo with us. We've got the filmmaker with us. So, Venerable Chokyi, it's all yours.
Well, I wanted to, first of all, thank you, Venerable Eileen, because I think this is an important way of, it seems that we need to not try and replicate the traditions. That's what we get told all the time. Don't try and plonk into your country something that is not of your tradition. And we haven't grown up in monasteries, nunneries, even in a Buddhist country. And it's been interesting. Just like next week, I'll be in Sydney for the Metta Convention, because Tina Ung has been looking at that, of little communities of nuns and lay people. So I'd really like that we explore that here. Coming back to the key point about where is our place, because as Venerable Sapal from Matchik Labdron said, her great motivation was, you've got to provide accommodation. We have to have accommodation. So fortunately now they have a beautiful nunnery that is all, I would say, 10-star accommodation. I just stayed there for 5-6 weeks. And it is, I guess it's a little bit in the traditional Tibetan, of course, tradition, but they haven't yet set their rules, and they're wanting to have it as something that is a little bit more gentle than what we might think, that is actually responding to each individual's interests and needs and contributions they might make, but also that they're supported in their practice and not everyone having to do the same thing. We seem to have done that many times and failed. So I think we need to explore these different models, and that's all very well in a place where you've got, maybe you only need 2. I'm just thinking myself and Venerable Peiko over there in Western Australia. There's the 2 of us there. I get excited when there's a 3rd nun, but just it might be 2s or 3s, and that's okay. But linking in, I think the key, linking in with the lay community, lay practitioners. So it seems that there could be many different approaches, many different models. But I also wanted to come back to Venerable Yanki with the documentary, because you also interviewed, remarkably, there were quite a few Australian nuns on that pilgrimage. So Venerable Daki, Venerable Jumpa Chodron, Venerable Yanki, and Seiki, and probably, I don't know, and of course Eileen, we still consider you one of us, even though you're in Ireland or wherever, a global nun. So nonetheless, everybody's individual experiences, there are the individual experiences that come with us, our journey towards the Dharma, but then the challenges. Venerable Yanki, if you could talk a little bit more about the challenges, apart from what we've discussed so far, that came across both from the gathering of the Alliance and also during the pilgrimage.
Venerable Yanki?
We've lost her.
Oh, we've lost her.
Mm.
She was just there.
Yes, that's how it goes.
Hopefully she'll come back in.
Okay.
In the meantime, Chokyi, Roy had a question. Roy.
Yes. Availability of the film without ads. I think.
No.
Oh no, that's it.
No, I didn't have a question. No.
Right.
No, it's Roy who's got the question. Are
No,
you there,
no.
Roy?
Yeah, no question here. I just did a thumbs up every time I
Just
saw
doing-
something I
Okay.
recognized.
There's a thumbs up.
Yeah.
And Gabriella, would you like to tell us about what you're planning?
Yes, thank you so much. I'm
And
really
it's lovely to see you.
Yes.
you. Yeah, here it's quite early in the morning in
Thank you.
Germany. So I'm really very touched by the movie and all that is happening around now for help, because here in the West, like in Germany, France, and in Europe, we have this problem since long time, and I know sometimes even more women who have disrobed than we know nuns nowadays, and I think that is really so saddening. So Sakyadhita France was founded 20 years ago and also inspired by our wonderful Tenzin Palmo and also by Dr. Carola Roloff, whom you may know, Venerable Jampa Zedon. And right now we are working cross-border together. We have also put many information on the websites, and I've made Sakyadhita France a member of the European Buddhist Union, and they will try to help us. My question was now I would like to make a sort of conference with all the members from, of course, Sakyadhita in Germany, France, UK, Spain. But it would be really great if we could have you also with us at that time and making clear that we need a fourfold Sangha in order to make the Dharma really deeply rooted, not only in US or elsewhere in Australia, but also in Europe. And I think we need to prepare that step by step. So this film of you, Ven Thubten Chokyi, is very interesting, and I would like maybe already to prepare it and have someone who could maybe help me get subtitles in French and in German, because we have lots of people who do not speak English. And also maybe we can, on another day, have an idea how we can structure such an online conference like the ones who have been doing in Spain. But in Spain, unfortunately, they are only in Spanish. Sorry, we don't speak Spanish. So we have the problem with the language here. And so that would be great if you have any further ideas or support or input for such a conference. We plan it maybe in September, October, or November. I think rather November, because then we are out of all the high seasons. I can put you my email in the chat and my mobile number. Then I'm reachable via WhatsApp. And then let's talk together. And also I would like to thank Sakyadhita Australia for the incredible work done on violence, family violence, because right now we are working on bringing that on the European level. We will try to put that really forward, that we are working also on that issue. Thank you so much. Hopefully I was not too long.
No, not too long at all. I just wanted to mention on that maybe.
Yeah, Chokyi, yeah.
We have next week as a follow-up from the meeting at Kuching, there's just to look at a group of around 20 people through Deakin University here in Australia, coming together in a round table around the abuse issues. And so there's just a small, as I said, 20 people, but that's around a little bit more focused around research, whereas I'm sure we're all interested more in action. And we've been looking at that also within the Australian Sangha Association. It seems there's a lot of work to do, but we don't yet have the clarity of how we make those steps forward. So I think what you're saying there, Gabriella, about having the conversations around that, we need to promote more and more. And also, I just wanted to mention within FPMT, which I'm part of, we have the European nuns representative. There's a European monks representative and a European nuns representative. So we can put you in touch with her if you're not already in touch with her as well. And Venerable Yanki's back.
Yes. Yanki, any thoughts? You're muted. Venerable Yanki, do you have, yeah.
Thoughts about what?
We were talking about how within the, I don't know, you dropped out. Within the documentary, you're showing, you know, the diversity of different experiences that nuns, well, journey in the Dharma, but then what you saw or what you gathered from the documentary in terms of what are the shared challenges and what might be, because you also asked about the future. So what sense of maybe some ways forward that we're all looking at now? That did you get a sense of that from speaking to the different nuns?
Mm. I had a sense of it even before from our initial meeting, and I think the most struggle is that the loneliness that some of the nuns feel, because the less of psychological support, as Jetsunma said. So this is the most challenge, because if you don't have like a shoulder close to you on which you can, how to say?
Rely on,
yeah. It's difficult, yes. And then if you meet some other difficulties, other struggles, then and because you're lonely, then you can even take off your vows, because you feel like you're alone. Nobody supports you, so what to do? I need to support myself. Then I need to take off my robes and go find work, job, and support myself. But when you have somebody else, even in the different part of the world, connected by Zoom, for example, and then you discuss the same situation, same problem, then you feel supported. And because of this, you feel strength to keep up with your ropes, keep up with your way of life, way of living, because you feel not alone anymore. So this is the most struggle. And what we can do, we can just create more, communication, like to do these conferences, meetings, even online is enough, I think. Just to let nuns talk about their situations, their problems, and to be here, you know. Sometimes you just need this to keep going. If somebody...
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you. I mean, that's one reason why we thought this could be good. Chokyi, did you want to add to that? You're muted.
Yeah, I think having forums, also what Gabriella suggested in terms of their conference that they're planning for Europe and wanting us all to participate, but having forums where we come together. It seemed that when COVID hit and we started having more online forums, suddenly for some, I know for the new nuns in particular, suddenly they realized, oh, they're not alone. There are actually other nuns out there. And I was also wondering, from your experience, Venerable Jue, putting you on the spot, how it works with the nuns there at Nan Tien, facing different challenges, how you're able to, you know, sort of live together harmoniously or not. Reality check. If you'd like to say.
Venerable Jue.
Sure, thank you, Venerable Chokyi. I was just putting some words in the chat, so I might just read it out. I want to say I'm so impressed with the amazing resilience of Buddhist nuns who do not practice in communities. I want to thank Jetsunma so much for setting up the association, and to Venerable Yanki for putting together that film to let the world know how amazing women are and how resilient we can be for the Dharma. So I have the privilege of living in a community. I'm on the opposite end of this spectrum. We are a very humanistic community that is highly supervised, which means that we don't get to go out of our compounds without asking for permission. So we are on the other end of the hierarchical spectrum. But at the same time, we have a lot of security. So we have security of at least our basic needs. So it's a different kind of practice, I would say. We practice what we call humanistic Buddhism, whereby it's with people that we see the boundlessness or the emptiness of interactions, that we create with the support that we get from our communities. We try to create Dharma platforms for everyone. So today, for example, we are celebrating the Medicine Buddha's birthday with a wellness day targeted for English-speaking audiences. So we started with a walk around Nantian Temple. We call it Walking to Wellness. Then I led a Medicine Buddha visualization meditation, borrowing on a lot of the work from Tibetan Buddhists. And also we have chanting, and we have lots of workshops making malas and flowers and all to create, I think, a sense of well-being for people in this very hectic society and actually very difficult lives out there. So I see us as having, I guess, a little, our contemplations, our time for contemplations is much less compared to you, for many of you, because we have much less time for ourselves, or most of our time is with community and doing work for the community, but our practice is in the community. And we hope that we have, like in the Mahayana tradition, a big vessel, all of us coming together and moving to nirvana together. Yeah, I don't know whether that is helpful or not, but nevertheless, I think we have to come together as sisters in the Dharma and support one another in one way or another. We all can't have everything. So in this package, how can we really support one another in the Dharma? And because
Zhu Wei, you'd like to see across the traditions, that the different traditions, as well as the non-Himalayan nuns, all supporting each other.
That's right. I think that's the only way. We are so small. You know, the Buddhist population is small. The nuns population being, I always tell people, I'm the minority of the minority of the minority. So we are so tiny. We just can't afford not to come together. And forums like Sakyadhita really is very good. In fact, Anna Halifax from Deakin University and I were talking about maybe a few years down the road to do a research project around Sakyadhita, to let the world know more about what Sakyadhita has been doing since its inception. Just not enough research about Sakyadhita itself. But that will be something down the road after we finish our current Buddhism in Australia project. So from Buddhism in Australia, we hope to talk about women in Buddhism in Australia. And then we want to go global into Sakyadhita International, you know, one step at a time. So that's our long-term plan. But because I live in the community, I'm so sorry, I got to go soon for our communal dinner.
That's okay. That's okay. Thank you for joining us. And it was lovely to see you.
I could just jump back in by Venerable Zhu Wei, but one thing Venerable Zhu Wei mentioned was the communal dinners. And I think this is one of the things that we've talked about, and maybe Venerable Aileen can talk about if they're coming together in community, the sharing of meals. I mean, what doesn't bring us together but eating together? And I remember speaking to monks at a monastery in Bendigo and asking how they build harmony. And they said, well, everyone has to cook. Everyone gets a rostered day where they have to cook a lunch, and then they've got to have lunch together. Now, that has fallen apart in recent times. And so, interesting enough, as a monastery, I don't think it's all about the cooking, but, you know, there are those things that we share apart from our vows and prayers and so forth. We may not even share those, but we certainly share the struggles. So it seems to be this thing about communication, of coming together around support for each other, as well as things like meals and so forth, where we're, because I think, like, for example, I mentioned the Metta Center. So they're doing a sort of big dana on the 15th of November in a public park. And it also brings in the broader community in a part of Sydney that's quite busy. Because it is true that there's very little understanding of the role, I would have to say, of nuns within our own communities, because I hear it all the time. What's the point of Sangha? And I think, oh my gosh, if I'm hearing that in the Dharma Center, you know, that's quite depressing. So it's some of the challenges, difficulties we have is facing those sorts of issues where, why is it that the lay people may not see the relevance of Sangha in their own communities? I'm not saying it's across the board, but it happens. And within the broader society, as society is becoming more unethical and more conflict happening, how we promote the role of service within the broader community. So if anyone would like to jump in on any of that or something else.
Thank you, Chokyi. It'd be lovely to hear from you, Jetsunma, as to your thoughts on the different communities coming together.
Me?
Yes.
Well, I mean, again, we've been discussing exactly what the problems are, that, you know, especially loneliness. I mean, the fourfold Sangha is a Sangha, which means a community. And where you are not in a community, then who are you? This is always a problem. One of the main problems for the non-Himalayan nuns is that they don't feel themselves a part of a community, which is why we created gatherings. So at least for a time they could feel, yes, I'm not just me, but all these beautiful Dharma sisters, they're with me too. And I mean, yes, okay, as you're saying, many lay people say, well, we don't need a monastic Sangha anymore because we're all very educated. We can read Dharma books, we can go to Dharma talks, we can do courses, beautiful courses on meditation being held nowadays. We can do retreats, short or long. We can do everything. So why do we need a monastic Sangha? And why should we respect a monastic Sangha? What contribution do they make which makes them worthy of respect by the rest of us? And so, I mean, this is something also which, you know, you have to think about, well, why do people leave often a very comfortable lifestyle to ordain and then, you know, face the problems of not fitting in often, either in their own Dharma center or in Asia. To my mind, one of the important, especially in the West nowadays, where everything seems to be going more and more towards your worth is how much money you have, how big a house you have, how many cars you have, how many relationships you've gone through. That is your, your ticket for success. And the monastic sangha is going in exactly the opposite direction. It's going towards the joy of simplicity, of contentment, of making do with little, and of finding the real meaning of life within our own heart mind and not in our outer possessions. And this was, we must remember when the Buddha, when he was a prince and he had everything, he was so super indulged. He even had a beautiful son and a beautiful wife and his father who adored him, and he was a prince. And then he saw, as we all know, the three signs of an old man, a sick man, and a corpse. And the reality of that really hit him very deeply inside, and he thought, what on earth can I do? And of course, then he saw a Shramana, the monk, walking by very mindfully and looking completely at peace and completely at ease within himself. And the Buddha immediately recognized that's the path, that's the way out of the sufferings of samsara. So, to my mind, all of the monks and nuns are representing Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, the three jewels, just by who they are, by their costume. And as we know, often people come up and say, well, often they come up and say, you're a Buddhist monk. And it's true, yeah. And then you say, well,
Chokyi said that, yeah.
But actually I'm a nun. But they don't have nuns in Buddhism.
Mm-hmm.
People are really, really surprised to hear there are nuns. In fact, one of our Kenmos, Kenmo Jigme children, who is Ladakhi, she never knew there were nuns in Buddhism. She always thought if there were nuns, she would want to be one, but unfortunately there are only monks. And that's in Ladakh. And now that could not be so, because now there are many, many Ladakhi nuns. So, from being in the background and overlooked and, nobody really knowing what you're doing there anymore, nuns have to come up. Not only the Himalayan nuns, but also all of us who have been, so devotedly following the Dharma for so many years and trying to express the essence of the Dharma, not only in words, but also in our whole way of life. So may it be so. This is why we are trying to reach out now, to let people know that there are non-Himalayan nuns in the world, many actually. Now I'm about to go to Bhutan. As many of you know, His Holiness J. Khenpo is giving higher ordination, the Bhikshuni ordination, to 250 nuns. And 20 or more of those are Western nuns. Nuns coming from Pamaya, nuns coming from America, nuns coming from other parts of Europe. There are at least 20 nuns who are coming for full ordination at this time, irregarding what lineage they belong to, because Vinaya goes beyond lineage. And so we are all setting off. The nuns have to go by bus. There's 60 of them, more than 60 of our senior nuns going. And it's going to take 30 hours by bus to get to Bhutan. But the Bhutanese government on their side have waived the need for visas, so everybody can go in without having to pay the large entrance fee, which previously they had. So it's good. We're going to have all these Western nuns. Hopefully they will also really study Vinaya and be a good example for others, that still in this time, you know, we're in 2025, nearly 2026, still monasticism is a very valid path, which the Buddha recommended. And the Fourfold Sangha, in order for the Buddha Dharma to really be established in the West, we need the Fourfold Sangha. And so really, we're so grateful to Sakyadhita and all the people who are connected with Sakyadhita for promoting this vision, and for people to see that in other Buddhist countries it is already a fact. Because it is the first time that the native Sangha has been ignored by the lay community. It's quite interesting. Normally, when Buddhism spread to other countries, then they started the Fourfold Sangha. But the Fourfold Sangha has always struggled in the West. So it's up to all of us to see that it doesn't just, you know, expire, but that in fact it is promoted, appreciated, both sides, or everybody benefiting each other instead of ignoring each other. Sorry, I'm yappering away, but it's really, really, I think everybody benefits from a strong and healthy monastic and lay community, as the Buddha said, mutually benefiting each other, and from that around the world.
Helen,
Thank you.
We have a question.
Thank you, Jet. Yeah, I know that, and I just actually want to give ourselves a little plug, because we did run a couple of fundraisers, Jetsunma, to help the nuns to come to Bhutan, and I'd like to thank Sharon, who organised it all. I'm not sure exactly how much our final figure was. Sharon might know, but anyhow, if any of you donated, we're very grateful, because, you know, we're helping send the nuns, and we're helping also send Olivier, the photographer. So if you donated, thank you very much. Now we do have a question from Lyndall.
Thank you. Which actually crosses over into.
Do you want to read? Do you want to read it, Meg?
No, I think Linda was going to use her mic and ask herself, and then Gabriella had a question after that.
Hi, everyone.
So, yeah.
I was just curious about, in terms of addressing loneliness and building community, whether you had any plans for an annual global gathering of your group. I mean, I know Sakyadhita happens every 2 years. Would that be too prohibitive with cost? You know, is that an option? Or alternatively, or as well as, have you considered having, you know, regular Zooms every month to build that sense of community and address the loneliness? Is there any structure around the next steps?
Well, that's what they're working on now. I mean, there are people like Aileen and Yanki and other nuns have come together to really look at this situation and really are planning that, like regular Zooms, maybe gatherings. But the gathering was very expensive because we needed to bring people in. I mean, most of the nuns really have hardly enough money to you know, go from day to day. They couldn't afford to fly into India. So most of it was subsidized by the Alliance, but it's quite expensive, and we get very few donations because people think it's more meritorious, presumably, to sponsor Himalayan. Just they don't ask themselves, how are these nuns being supported? You know, it's very, I mean, because they're so used to nuns always, or monks, you know, getting support from their community. that people don't stop to think, well, all these Western nuns and Asian nuns who ordain into the Tibetan tradition, who is looking after them? Who is training them? Who is even appreciating them? But especially, you know, the fourfold requirements of somewhere to live and food and clothing and medicine. Who is giving that? So therefore, the gathering, we did it because we really wanted people to come together and meet each other and recognize that we're all sisters. And that was wonderfully successful, and the pilgrimage and so forth was wonderfully inspiring for this group of women to come together, functioning as a sangha, as their own sangha. But yeah, we're trying to reach out as more and more as possible to get people to recognize that there is a possibility for the nuns, you know, to come together and to make small groups of like-minded nuns and so forth. Slowly, but at least we've made a few steps forward. Aileen, what do you think? Because Aileen is very much part of this whole crucial movement to take from the gathering and create small communities.
Aileen?
I think maybe Yanki should speak to this, Jetsunma. Yanki, you had a meeting yesterday, yeah? If you explain what who meets and what you discuss.
So for now, we have a regular Zoom meetings every month. At least once a month we meet. Sometimes Jetsunma also join us for these meetings. Then what we planning to do, of course, we want to organize future meetings, but maybe we thinking to also do it online, like a big gathering, big meetings. Maybe for the next year. But we now a little bit struggling because we have not enough volunteers. So now we start to reach out to the nuns to invite them to volunteer more. So when we get the more people to the team, then we can do bigger projects. For now, we just having these regular meetings once a month. And when we build a bigger team, then we will work on the bigger projects also.
Thank you, Venerable Yanki. Meg, are there any other questions?
Gabriella had her hand up again a little while ago.
Yeah.
Gabriella?
Yeah, I was just wondering, this Non-Himalayan Nuns Association, is that only for the Tibetan nuns, or can that also include nuns from other traditions? Because what I've realized here in Europe, we have very sparsely, you know, everywhere a nun, and then this one is Tibetan, that one is from Theravada, then one is from whatever tradition, and it's already something very complicated, for example, to organize a dinner because they live in different towns and they don't have the money to meet. So in Germany, luckily, they have started something which is called CBU, which is a community of ordained Buddhists, and they meet and they have set up even a sort of association to support each other, but that doesn't exist in other countries. So I think the Zoom is for the moment the thing which works the best for us, and I'm really inspired, and I think I've been talking with nuns and very engaged with women from all over Europe, and we tried to set up that one. But what would be really helpful, and I would if we could have, for example, some of you explaining. So I would like to schedule a sort of, let's say next year, a sort of specialized Zoom conference on this issue, and then we will try with the European Buddhist Union, but also with the French Buddhist Union, to inform all monastics so that you can explain this project, and then we can really go forward, because we have the language problem, and then I would need to organize also maybe simultaneous translation, but that is something we are very used to do. Would that be a project you would be supportive for?
Oh, certainly, why not? I mean, we are very supportive of anything which helps ordained Sangha in the West and certain Asian countries to go forward and to feel that they are part of a Sangha. I mean, Vinaya, even though the different Vinaya schools, Vinaya is Vinaya. It's all the same. Tibetan, Chinese, Theravadan, it doesn't matter. I mean, the rules are surprisingly still very, very similar, even though they've been separated for 1,000 years. And that is what makes Buddhist monks and nuns very, very, very close, actually, because we are following basically the same Vinaya rules, and they all stem from the Buddha himself. So there's no problem. The ANHN actually is really only intended for Tibetan nuns at the moment. And our board consists of nuns from the 4 Tibetan lineages. And at the moment, I think we have to stay modest like that, because really we're just even trying to help fund them is hard enough. I mean, at the moment, mostly the Alliance gives funding for people wanting to, nuns, non-Himalayan nuns wanting to do a short retreat course or go for some other courses and things like that. It's mostly just to help them along the way with their studies. We don't have anything like enough funding to be able to support them in their, living conditions, because we really have very limited funds. But we do want to try to help them if they want to, some big teacher or something's happening somewhere, some big initiations or something, to help and allow them to participate. For example, we are financing quite a lot of nuns, foreign nuns, to go for this ordination in Bhutan.
Just maybe because the training is so important, I just would like to give you a little hint. We have the actual president of Sakyadhita Germany is the venerable. The monastery is called Anenja Vihara, and then we have Aya Palanyani, who is a full ordained Theravada nun, but in her monastery she gives training when people have given ordination. I put you in the link, and it's really amazing. We have been there, and she's also part of our foundation. We could luckily bring into place in Germany the Brambusch Scheelen Foundation, and we can help financially also in its setup, especially for nuns. So we can think about, but it should be in Germany and somehow with German nuns, just so that is not for all the world, but but we tried very much to support them. And so we start now financing the creation of different monasteries in Germany, and I can really invite you to have contact with Aya Palanyani, which is amazing, and she's really the most joyful person I've ever seen in training young nuns, and it's just really beautiful to see that. So that's why my question was if we could maybe join forces there, because if there is a nun who would really like to study the Vinaya in the Anenja Vihara, that could be a place also, but it's Theravada.
Yeah, thank you, Gabriella. And it's fantastic to have a nun as head of Sakyadhita Germany. Venerable Chokyi, I think you wanted to say something.
Yeah, I think what I'm hearing is, because I'm also chair of the Australian Sangha Association for a while longer, of monks and nuns. And while we look at these similar issues, we've never really specifically addressed the nuns separately. And so I think there's a lot of scope for all of us just hearing these ideas. It'd be good to share those and maybe share the resources and links of where you might internationally or nationally, where there are initiatives going on, where there is perhaps funding, where there are resources. Because I know in my various roles, like we're developing mentorship programs, training programs, all of this, that we don't all need to, we can share our resources across with each other of what's working and what's not. And I think coming back to Lyndall's also question about coming together, like in Sakyadhita, Australia, we do this little thing of regional gatherings, Southeast Queensland, Western Australia, Victoria. We had a dinner. Possibly we had one dinner down there. The lay and monastic, and we usually have somebody giving a talk or doing readings. Maybe Sandra wants to talk about that. And then next year we have the pilgrimage. And I think that's an opportunity, not only we're visiting nunneries and monasteries, but also to raise that presence in, and promote that, like what Venerable Yanki has done of actually making a documentary to document and place that online and create that presence.
Fabulous. Yeah, thank you. Sandra, did you want to say anything? Sandra represents a Theravada community and is very involved in Sakyadhita and organises the West Australian gatherings, and you're muted.
It's still on mute, Sandra. Yep.
Yeah,
great.
yeah. I was struggling with my screens. Yeah, so I guess one thing that I've learned over the years running community events is not to stoke your fire too big. They soon become quite unwieldy. So in WA, what a few of us have tried to do is stick to a very simple formula, which is basically every couple of months in alignment with our Indigenous communities seasons. So those from overseas, our local Indigenous community is the Whadjuk Noongar people in Perth, where I live and others live, and they have 6 seasons of the year. And so we basically just have a picnic at our local park, Kings Park, which is very beautiful. Bring women together, and it's a very simple formula. So Venerable Chokyi and Venerable Pika join us. We invite other nuns as well. The issue with the other nuns is that they're often busy with different temple duties on the weekend, or they don't have transport. So we need a tribe of volunteers to run around, pick all the nuns up and bring them to Kings Park, which is entirely doable. And our very simple formula is really just to come together. We have a blessing, we have a meditation. The ladies like to focus on a theme. So we've done things like look at palliative care. So we had a beautiful session where we worked with a lady who asks 10 questions to help people document, their thoughts and feelings as they near end of life. So we're looking at things that really serve that spiritual engagement between the lay community or householder community and the monastic community. So, we bring the food and the tea and the drinks. Chokyi and Pika provide a beautiful blessing and lead a meditation and conversation. And then we just gather as women. We just sit on the grass, eat food, chat, And when we're done, we're done. And it's so simple. Doesn't require a whole lot of setup, but it's just creating that space for that spiritual exchange to happen. That's the way I've kind of seen it. Chokyi, did you?
Well, I think while it's very simple, and we've been doing it a few years now,
yeah,
it's built a sense of community amongst us.
Yeah,
coming back to that feeling like you belong to a community, also in your local area where we're all dispersed.
Yeah,
you know, a few hours apart from each other, and that we come together in that shared space is important. And that spills over onto other events and things we're connected with.
Yeah. So I was not meaning to downplay by using the language of simple. It was more like just to give a message of hope that you don't actually have to create something big and grand and profound. A lot of the time, people just want to come together in friendship. And that's the point I was trying to make in the little comment there, is that there's the the spiritual education side of things, which I've also been involved in through Buddhist Society of WA, standing up our spiritual education group. But then there's also just the space making and space holding for friendship. And that's the beautiful thing that then opens the door, because a lot of people feel a little bit confronted to come along and sit with a group of monastics. They don't know how to behave, or what if I address them wrong? What if I say the wrong thing? Or I don't know enough about Buddhism, or blah, 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 blah. The papancha is endless, but at the core of it, it's just, space for friendship, space for exchange.
Thanks very much, Sandra. Look, we're well over the hour, and it's probably time to wrap up. Meg, are there any further questions?
No further questions, just people offering thanks, particularly to Venerable Yanki for having made the film. I'm not sure if anyone, again, would like to unmute and thank personally, or feel free to.
And Gabriella, there's also lots of suggestions about how you can do your subtitles. So we'll copy those for you and send them over to you. And we do appreciate you joining us, getting up so early. Are there any closing comments?
Maybe Christine Chung has joined as well.
Christy, would you like to say anything, Christy? Our closing comments? No.
No.
So I'll ask Jetsunma. Oh, Christy.
Hello. Sorry, I don't have anything to add. I'm just here to listen to the situation, and I appreciate your gathering.
Thank you.
And
thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Lovely to see you. So any closing comments? Firstly, Jetsunma, any closing comment, Venerable? Or
we're all part of the Fourfold Sangha, whatever role we play. And this has continued for 2,500 years, and it is still very much with us. And so we can go forward with confidence that the Fourfold Sangha, no matter where it is, will always triumph and be there for people to feel, as you said, a community of Dharma friends, our Dharma brothers and our Dharma sisters. And so that is very wonderful. I mean, in all these years, in all these countries around the world, the Fourfold Sangha has ultimately always flourished. So we can rejoice. Something good has come through the ages and is still with us. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you. Venerable Yanki, any closing comments or thoughts? All good? Thank you again for your documentary and
this webinar And I just want to share my email and WhatsApp number if somebody wants to contact me, if you want to get the film, not on YouTube or some other ideas.
You can put it. You can put it in the chat room, and Meg will.
I did.
Yeah. Thank you. Venerable Chokyi.
I just wanted to say to Venerable Yanki, like many people have viewed it and are just so inspired by what you've done. So I think you might need to continue on this journey of documenting nuns' lives. So
yes, I have some ideas already. I want to make a movie about Russian nuns now.
Yeah.
Maybe next spring I'm going to start.
Beautiful.
And now I start to think to make movie about NHN and about Sakyadhita also. I will think
you can join forces with Venerable Zhuwei, and Roy is giving you the thumbs up. Chokyi, is that all from you?
Perhaps you just want to mention our next webinar.
Yes, I will. So if there's no further questions, thank you, everyone. It's been terrific. And thank you in particular to our special guests, Venerable Yanki, Venerable Chokyi, and Jetsunma Tenzin Palmo. Lovely to have you with us. And lovely to hear from you all, Gabriella and Eileen and all the participants. There's so much wisdom, and it's great that you're sharing your time. Tenzin, our thoughts are with you and the nuns as you head off to Bhutan for that ordination, and we really hope it goes well, and that more and more women after this will move into, as bhikshunis, will move into leadership roles. And thank you all for your questions, and thank you, Meg, for your excuse me, and thanks, Meg, for your help. And a reminder that this webinar will be available on the Sakyadhita Australia YouTube channel in a few days. We have one more webinar for the year. It will be on Sunday, December the 7th, and our guests will be Venerable Dhammananda and Cindy Razicott, who wrote a book about Venerable Dhammananda called This Fresh Existence, Heart Teachings from Bhikkhuni Dhammananda. And of course, Venerable Dhammananda is the nun who shattered all those traditional gender barriers in Thailand and brought in a new era of equality. So this will be on Zoom, and we'll send out more details closer to the time. And I'd like to thank you all who are members of Sakyadhita Australia. And if you're not a member, think about joining us. And Meg, I think we have a special deal at the moment, at the end of the year.
Yeah, we do. We're offering a 1.5-year membership or half a year membership. But I think we're close enough to the next year that we can probably call it next year.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you join now, you're through till the end of 2026. And we need financially, but we really appreciate our members. So thank you, everyone, for joining us. And I'm just wondering
just mention our pilgrimage too. Please.
Sorry, Sharon. Sorry. And as Venerable Chokyi mentioned, next year, Gabriella, Sakyadhita France is 20 years old. We're going to be 10 years old next year. And Sharon has helped us organise a pilgrimage to some Victorian centres. So we're starting in Melbourne. We're visiting a few of the Melbourne centres. Then we're going to stay at the new Sanctuary of Stillness Retreat Centre at the Newbury Monastery. And Venerable Chokyi will be leading a retreat there. And then we're heading on to the Great Stupa in Bendigo, and we'll also be visiting the Tisha Nuns house that Venerable Chokyi mentioned. And finally, coming back to Melbourne via the Sion Centre run by Venerable Chikwan up in King Lake. So that's our plan. And Sharon, it's online, so we can also add the details of that on the chat room, I hope. So is there anyone who'd like to see the remainder of the of Venerable Yanki's documentary? Because about the pilgrimage, we're very happy to screen it if anyone would like to. Put your hand up if you'd like to see it.
Helen, just to let you know, I've also put it in the link in the chat. So for those who might want to also watch it in their own time, the link is in the chat.
Yeah. Okay, I think we're good. I think people will watch it in their own time. So thank you, everyone. Chokyi, can I ask you to time us out with a blessing again? Thank you. And you're muted again.
Dewadino Duja Lama Sange Dromyone Drowa Chikan Mahalupam Ne Sala Ngopasho Jancho Sencho Rinpoche Make Panamge Kuchi Ke Panya Pame Paya Goni Gondu Pawa Eshu. I say sadhu, 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 and I have taught my Theravadan friends the Tibetan equivalent, lexo, lexo, lexo.
Lexo, lexo, lexo.
Thank you, everyone. It's been terrific. Thank you so much.